What's going on, NuCanoe Nation, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Unlimited Podcast, episode 61. We got Blake Young in the house live from the new facility up there in Bellingham, Washington. Excited to talk to him, hear about some of the stuff that's shipping, some of the stuff that's about to ship, and so on and so forth. Drop in the comments where you guys are tuning in from, what kind of boat you're floating out of, whether it's a NuCanoe or not. We want to hear from you. So drop that in the chat. Obviously, you guys know Blake is an open book as we go on throughout this show. Feel free to drop some questions down in the chat. We will get those answered for you. I hope you guys are liking the intros. We are due to make a new intro for next week's show. So when you guys are out on the water, loading up at the ramp, whatever it may be, taking those photos, be sure to hashtag NuCanoe. Grab all those photos once a month. Put you guys in the intros, kind of show you off and what you guys are doing on the water. So make sure you guys are doing that, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is. I will grab those photos and you may end up in the intro there. So let's get the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Mr. Blake Young in the house. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, Brian. How about you?
Good, man. Good to see you.
A little bit different scenery in the background today.
Yeah, super cool, man. Super cool. I know this is an exciting thing for you, the whole crew up there in Washington, and looking forward to hearing about it tonight.
Yeah, it's exciting, man. We're super pumped. It's kind of we're desperately in need of a new space, but getting a new space that really fits us, that isn't a big move for our crew, and kind of just the right dynamic is not easy to come by. And this place just opened up about 6 weeks ago, and we reached out to them, walked through it, and now we put a deal together, and we got this building, man. So we're super pumped. This is going to be an exciting space for our team. It really allow us to grow, allow them to have a little more elbow room, a little more space, and just allow us to serve our customers better, make better products, make new products, all that good stuff. So we're pumped.
Heck yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. We got David Newton in the chat. He says, you're not in the closet this time.
No, went from the small confines to, 5,000 square feet or whatever it is. I forget. Now about 7,000 square feet here. So, yeah, they let me out.
That's super cool. Super cool, man. Well, let's get a little background in this, because I don't know if we've ever talked about it here on the show. Like when you started NuCanoe, like what kind of facility were you in then? And then maybe walk us through the growth to present day at the new facility.
Yeah, for sure, Brian. You may notice in the background, we got our team, all our employees are here, some of their families, just having really kind of a toast in the new building. We popped the corks, a little champagne to celebrate earlier before the podcast started. And we kind of talked through just the history of our physical spaces. NuCanoe started in 2006. We had it was probably about a 30-foot by 30-foot space in someone else's warehouse that we set up shop in. And we had a table for our parts. We had a little bit of storage for finished boats, and we'd bring the boats in. I'd bring them in like 3 at a time in the back of my pickup truck, assemble them, package them, and then, when an order came in or someone wanted to buy one, we'd ship it out, go down and get 3 more, and kind of that was the process. And so it was pretty humble beginnings. After about a year or something, I think our footprint expanded maybe to 40 by 20 or a little bit bigger, and we had a few more boats. And then about 2008 we moved across the street when we had a different rotomolder, and he was co-located in that facility. And then we had a little more space, but we had some more boats, but nothing too extravagant. Back then we didn't have many accessories either, so it's pretty much just the kayaks and some racks and a place to ship them out. And then when we moved our molding out to Ohio in 2010, we didn't need that much space. So we kind of downsized or right-sized and it was a pretty funky little building. It's down in Fairhaven, which is just kind of the old town of Bellingham. It's right in the kind of marine industrial park that wraps around the water, a lot of kind of marine companies, shipyards, and things like that. We had this random like 642 square foot warehouse that was just built literally on top of the parking lot. Huh. Now, when we got it, we were pretty pumped. We're like, wow, we have our own space. We have our own building. There were some downside that didn't have any plumbing in it. So if you need to use a bathroom or whatever else, you had to walk, through a big parking lot down one of the bigger warehouses, go in and use their bathroom. Sure. And when it rained, you kind of had some plumbing running right through the middle of the shop floor because it wasn't really watertight. So, it was one of those things that was exciting at the time, but it was still limited. But it was a step forward for us. And sure. We were there for about 3 years. And then I was telling the team that, we'd pretty much outgrown that space. We needed something different. And one day I was driving around town with my daughter sleeping, really just trying to keep her asleep, and went down this street, Humboldt Street, that I usually don't ever go down, and saw a nice looking warehouse with a for lease sign on it. Called it up, left a message, and called me back sometime later. And that ended up being our home from about 2014 through right about now. Yeah. And it's been a great space. I mean, our business has grown probably 5 times since we've been in that space. When we moved in there, it felt big, just like this space feels big today. And it was like, wow, this is going to be so great. We're going to have room for everything. We can do all this different stuff and have plenty of space. And over the years, you fill it up. And we have, our crew has just done an amazing job of kind of reinventing the space. What used to be, photos and video studio. If anybody watched, some of the various live videos we did over the years, and kind of the NuCanoe custom series, and just a lot of the product videos were shot up there. And then that was, the last 2 years, that's become storage because we just had too much stuff. One of our guys, Forrest, is works up in the mezzanine. He's hauling stuff up and down, a pretty decent flight of stairs every day to take stuff up, get it assembled, packaged, and bring it back down again. And so they've just been really flexible and done an awesome job of figuring out how to make things work in a real tight space. And we knew we needed something else, and it just was great timing. Back in March, there was 2 buildings that were within 1 block of our current building that both came available at the same time. So we walked through one first, thought, man, this could work. It was big, it was funky, it just had a lot going on, but we're like, we need bigger space so we could make this work. Well, then the next day we came in this space, got about 3 steps inside the door, looked left and looked right, and go, okay, this is going to be it. This is just wide open, clean, gives us all the flexibility in the world. Got some nice office space for our, dealer and customer support crew. And it's just going to be a really nice home. So everybody was completely on board, and we've been spending the last month kind of getting things set up. You can probably see over my shoulder here some of our workstations that were built for Forrest and Christian and Tyler. We'll do the pivot drive assembly. A lot of the accessories will happen right over there. And this space that I'm sitting in will be kind of our photo and video space. And then the warehouse racks, you see that's going to be our shipping area where all our finished goods will be, and Brandon will be able to have a really nice organized area to pick everything off the shelves and get it boxed up and shipped out to dealers and customers. And then there's a lot of open space for boats. We currently have a separate warehouse a few blocks away that works well, but we're so tight in our primary space that we just can't have one of every model set up on display for guys to reference, and they got to, test a fit or answer a question. But now we'll have all of our boats, all of our accessories, all the propulsion systems, pivot drives set up on boats, right in the same space that we're working in and day out. So it'll really give us a lot better ability to answer those questions about how's the casting bar going to fit with my foot steering,
Sure.
or, just to test the fit on parts as they're coming through and make sure everything's good. So we're all real pumped about it. It's going to be an awesome space, and I'm excited to see how this space fills up over the years and really just expands as our business grows, and we figure out new and better ways to do things and new and better products to bring out.
That's super cool, man. And you mentioned something, and I'm curious if you know offhand, like, back when you guys started, you didn't need a ton of space for accessories and things like that. And I think that's one thing that's cool about NuCanoe, right? Is you guys have accessories that are specific for all the different model boats, and it's like looking back to then to now, like all the stuff you guys have come up with, created, and gone from there. I mean, how many SKUs did you have back then compared to now? Do you even know that number?
I don't know that number, but I know originally our product list would have been about one page, and you'd have the Classic 10 and Classic 12, and then maybe some seats and paddles and rod holders or something. The sport box, if you guys, for everyone who goes way back.
Sure.
Not a whole lot. But yeah, it's just, it's the whole nature of the boats being the versatile, stable platforms that are completely customizable, that we've been able to, just really build out those accessories and refine them over the years. Even 3 years ago, we didn't sell any motor systems. You could put a bow mount motor on, you could put a transom mount trolling motor on, you could put an outboard on, but it was like, you get the kayak from us and you figure that out on your own. But now we have all those systems completely integrated into the boats, the mounting and control systems with the quick connect. We sell the different motors. So now it's like you're buying a complete solution that's all integrated. Everything works great. Plug and play, away you go.
And that's just interesting, right? Because I think you guys have always really gotten feedback from, the end users, the guys using the boats, the gals using the boats, looking at what they're doing, and then kind of came up with a simpler solution for some of these things that folks were rigging up on their kayaks and stuff. I mean, is that how accessories, when you guys are thinking of new things to make, is that what you guys are essentially looking at?
Yeah, I mean, we're listening to customers for sure. One example is the Boondocks landing gear adapter on the Unlimited. That, I forget the customer's name. It might be Jason. But someone sent me an email and said, hey, have you thought about adapting, doing a bracket? I think you could do it like this. And he had a quick little sketch. And I was like, yeah, that could work. I'm like, man, you mind if we take this idea and run with it? He's like, no, go for it. I said, all right, well, we'll send you the first prototype to test out. And that was the start of the Boondocks landing gear adapter for the Unlimited, to tie it into the 2 tracks and allow you to easily do that without drilling any holes in the boat. So that's one example, but we've all just listened to customers and say, hey, we'd like, better spot for storage, or seeing what people do on their own and saying, hey, if we took that concept and did this, ways we can improve it. And then other things are just kind of starting from a real basic starting point, like the original EPS, which was, Electric Kayak Company had the kind of the electric motor that was adapted to kayaks. We said, hey, if you make these modifications, it would fit on our boat, and we'll do this. And then, working with them over the years, and then kind of transition that all into the Quick Connect system, which was completely designed specifically for the pivot drive. And I think it was one year at ICAST, we're talking to Jeff Little from Torqeedo and Everett and James, our designer, and going, now, why couldn't we replace that pivot drive shaft with the Torqeedo motor? Like, there's no reason why we couldn't.
Sure.
So we set to work and coming up with that system, and then, adapting it to the original EPS, and now the NuCanoe EPS powered by the Newport vessels. and then just being able to refine stuff, fine tune it, make it all work better together. And, not adding the foot steering capability to it, the rudder to it. Just exciting to see how everything's kind of, grown and refined and improved.
No, for sure. And as you were talking about all this stuff, Brock Howell from Indiana was in the chat, and he says it's crazy how easy it was to put the XI3 on my Unlimited. A lot of other companies, you have to drill holes, but not with the NuCanoe, which made it super nice.
That's great.
And that's just it. It's plug and play. And not only that, I mean, like, for instance, you're talking about the EPS with Romel. I did a podcast here with him, and he rigged one up as we were talking on the podcast in 45 minutes. I mean, that makes life super easy instead of sitting there in the garage, scratching your head, trying to figure out how am I going to make this work,
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that's definitely something we strive for. Usually the first time, the first iteration of something kind of has the basic functionality, but it's a little bit clunky. And then we're able to work through it and figure out ways to really refine it, have it integrate, just have the inserts in the boats, the steering handle just plug, screws right in.
sure.
The transom bracket just drops on. So, yeah, it's a fun process. It's definitely cool to see that grow. And, back to your original question about the accessories and stuff, it was just, really us looking to maximize the capability of the kayaks.
Yeah.
Because, back then, most kayak manufacturers just tried to put everything they could into their models, and that was all. This is what we sell. Well, we wanted to go the other approach and say, hey, we kind of have the blank canvas, the blank slate. We're going to give you the capability to do everything you want to do, but we're going to try to give you as many options so you can fine tune it and set it up just as you want, not, as we decide.
Sure. We got Foul Freddy in the chat, and this kind of segues into our next kind of topic is some stuff that's ready and shipping out. He said, just got my foot pedal steering last week. Can't wait to put it on my F10.
That's awesome. Yeah, one thing I want to touch on, Brian, before we jump kind of on the space and stuff.
Sure.
It's, as a lot of my family and I moved to Florida in August 2020. So we don't even, this is not where I'm going to come to work every day, unfortunately. And of the four guys that are our full-time shop crew, none of those guys were with us when I moved to Florida, 18 months ago.
Sure.
They've all come on board in that last time. It's pretty remarkable how they've, all come in and just really just worked well together, strive to learn, to improve. And I think this shop is really, it's a testament to them and to, Lori, Kyla, and Penny on our, kind of dealer customer support admin side for just how exceptional they all are as a team and how they support our customers, do such a great job that we can make that, investment and commitment in a space like this when I don't even live here or work here on a daily basis.
Sure.
Because a lot of times people over the last year and a half are like, oh, so you're going to move NuCanoe to Florida, going to pull everything down there? I'm like, we got a good team up there. I'm not really looking to change that. So being able to, just know that these guys are doing a great job and are committed to it and have this nice space for them to come into work every day and really be able to unlimit themselves in what they do and how they work and how they support our dealers and customers is awesome.
I agree with that 100%, man. Like anytime I've emailed Lori or Penny, like you get a response almost right away. Anytime I've ever ordered anything, those guys get it out in a timely fashion. Shows up at my doorstep in one piece, thousand plus miles away. It's great to have that, and I'm sure that wasn't an easy, personal and business move, right? Moving away from your baby a little bit, but the fact that you have, such good people in place, it helps the machine stay well oiled and running smoothly.
Exactly. And they, this is their building. So like they're going to set it up. They're going to figure it out. They're going to iterate and work through the, process to get it set up and operational here and, and be able to enjoy it and make it their own. So
nice.
Good stuff.
I like it, man. I like it. Kudos to the whole crew up there. I mean, congrats on their new building. I mean, did you get them cots so they could just stay at the shop and just continue working, or what?
We got lots of little offices here we don't have a purpose for yet. So one might be like a hair and makeup studio. We were joking earlier.
There
But
you
no,
go.
they could be little. They could hang out here if they want to. Stick up a cot, you know.
I
But we're
like it.
looking forward to doing some fun stuff here. Like there's a big, big yard space outside, so we could
Cool.
totally have like, we could have boats out there. We can have the kayak trailers out there. We can do more stuff in the community. You know, we've been located a block away, but moving in this building, it's, just this one block. We're one block off of Main Street. There's a big like tire center right across the street. And there's some big signs on this building that will replace with NuCanoe.
That's
And
cool.
I just know that people in the local community be like, "Oh, you guys knew? When did you start? Like, where'd you guys come from?"
Sure.
Just
sure.
because we haven't been really visible in this community, like to the extent that we will be now with this space and being able to have just kind of some fun events and, happy hours, open houses, kayak fishing seminars, things like that.
That's super cool. That'll be great for the local community for sure. I mean,
Yeah, great for the community. It's fun for our team, and
Yeah.
just a good time.
Heck yeah, man. No better way to continue to build your brand than right in the hometown, right?
There we go.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah.
So you want to talk some new products?
Yeah, man. So, like I said, I've been seeing a lot of posts on the old Facebook and the interwebs. Guys are getting their foot steering. I know, I forget who it was that dropped in the chat. Foul Freddy dropped in the chat that
Right.
he just got his. So, foot steering now shipping. Folks are wanting to order. Is there any kind of lead time, or are we well stocked up at HQ?
Yeah, we're in pretty good shape. We'll see how the orders come in, but right now you can expect those to ship out within a few days. We've got some stock. We have the parts we need to build more, so we should be able to keep up with them. And yeah, I'm really excited for the foot steering. I think foot steering is definitely the future for the Torpedo systems, and most likely the future for the EPS systems as well. Once somebody uses that, and just the simplicity, the ease, just not having your hands be tied up with anything as far as your motor goes, or for that, you still have the throttle, of course, but not to be on the steering. It's just a really nice system. I mean, it's probably, of all the things that we've done, one of my favorites, that and the Quick Connect. So just for how well it works and how it functions, how it feels.
Yeah, those two run together is a dream come true.
Yeah.
I mean, I made a lot of people jealous last month when I was down in Tennessee, and I was running, my EPS with that foot steering, and in the 1 foot steering. That's what's huge. A lot of folks and some other companies, they'll have like that 2 foot steering system. And at first I was like, man, is my foot going to pivot the right way? And once I got on the water and actually put it to use, I was like, this is amazing. I will never change to anything else because it's that easy. I mean, I was kicked back in my chair, just cruising along. And I mean, the first day I was out on the water, I probably did 10 miles. And
Nice.
I mean, just steers like a dream. And not only that, but when you're going to steer and you're pivoting on your foot, it's effortless.
Right. And the position control aspect, to be going just a tiny bit of throttle on that motor, and then be able to adjust your foot to keep your boat in the right position. And when the rudder system, with the rudder system, just being using your foot to control the position, control the drift, when you're in the wind, it becomes intuitive really fast, and you're not even thinking about it.
Yeah, and I know I've talked to a few guys that are running the bow mounts, the XI3s and such, and that's one thing they're looking forward to, because now with the rudder system, the foot steering, they could leave their motor just on going straight and then steer with the rudder in the back instead of messing around with the remote to turn and stuff.
Yeah, if you're just trying to adjust your position or make small movements, using that motor just to give yourself a little bit of push, and then the foot steering to control your direction, is going to be really effective. It's going to be a great setup, and far easier than trying to, left, right on the motor and that. I know motor guys working on, kind of fine tuning the response of the motor for the kayak so it doesn't overpower it. But, right now for sure, having that XI3 to provide the propulsion, and then the foot steering to, for the fine tuning movements and stuff and positioning is going to be killer.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Well, I mean, that kind of leads into the next one. So foot steering is shipping now. Guys, gals, get your orders in. Just go to NuCanoe.com, order it up, or visit.
Yeah, let's take a quick pause, Brian.
Okay.
I just want to run through the options for the foot steering.
Okay.
So if you have a quick connect system now, if you already bought the Torqeedo quick connect or the EPS quick connect with the hand steering, what you want to get is the foot steering kit. I don't know the exact model or item number off the top of my head, but it's 1730 and 1732, 1733, something like that. So it's just the foot steering kit. And what that's going to come with is the longer steering cable, the foot pedal with the track mount, and the ball joint connector, so you can just easily swap between hand and foot steering. So that's just going to basically replace your hand steering or supplement it with the foot steering. Now, if you're buying a new system, a new setup, then you're going to want to get the quick connect mounting and control kit foot steering version, and that'll be item number 70 or 1720, 20 for an F10, 22 for an F12, 26 for an unlimited. So you basically got the upgrade kit that just adds foot steering, or you got the complete mounting and control kit. And now to answer the next question before it comes in, we are currently working on the mounting bracket for the Flint and Pursuit to be able to make those foot steering compatible. I was looking at James's latest design today. It's going to be an injection molded part, so it's going to be just really nice. We thought about making it out of metal and kind of bent metal brackets and whatnot, but just wouldn't really be at the level of refinement and performance that we're looking for. So that's going to be a brand new injection molded part that will mount in the track and allow that foot pedal to mount in it. For the Flint and Pursuit, where the track is inlaid in the floor instead of up a little bit higher on those little sidewalls. So given that it'll be injection molded, require tooling, probably be looking at, July, August for availability on that. But it's definitely going to be worth the wait, because when that comes out, it'll perform really well.
Very cool.
And
yeah, I got both options up on the screen. So, basically, if you already have a quick connect system, you could just order the foot steering pedal and bracket, and then the cable that goes on the back. If you don't have the quick connect system already, you can get everything in one as a whole. And I just dropped the link down in the chat for you guys that are looking to pick one of these up. So that way you can just click that link and it'll take you straight to those two options.
Awesome.
And then obviously you're going to have to, pick which boat it's for, so that way you get the correct length cable, because they're not all the same lengths.
Yeah. The Frontier 12 and the Unlimited have the same length cable. The only difference in those systems, there's a little spacer bracket on the F12 to raise that pedal up so it doesn't interfere with the floor. Otherwise, they're the same. So essentially, you could run the F12 foot pedal on the Unlimited, but if you put the Unlimited foot pedal straight onto the Frontier 12, you'd have a little bit of interference with that pedal on the deck floor on the Frontier 12.
Heck yeah. James O'Neill is asking, why does the kit come with a fish finder mount? That is not a fish finder mount. That is actually the throttle plate mount for the EPS motor that you're seeing in that photo.
Cool.
Beach Basement Kayak says, we enjoy doing a simple EPS install within minutes while a customer is waiting for their new kayak. It's a great way to show how simple plug and play really is, and the foot steering is awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you, Beach Basement.
It's Mark down there in Homosassa, Florida. Does a great job.
Heck yeah. I see those guys posting and commenting all the time. It's great to see.
Yeah, they've rigged up some great setups.
Heck yeah. We covered the foot steering.
Onto the rudder?
Onto the rudder. We've talked about it. I know some people are excited about it. They're looking forward to it, especially the guys with the XI3s, like we kind of talked about. So what's the status and where are we at with the rudder system?
Well, probably somewhere in the air. I don't know where, maybe heading into Louisville or out of Louisville, Kentucky in a UPS plane is our first roto-molded rudder blade. and that is shipping today from Yak Attack, coming overnight to us. So it'll be here in Bellingham tomorrow morning. Yak Attack is already, we sent them our whole quick connect assembly, so they've already kind of fit and function tested it and said it looks good, works good. They got a few things they're going to, kind of fine tune on their end, but they're sending it out to us to give put it through the full paces and test it out. Assuming everything checks out, we'll be able to hit go on production and, be shipping those this month. So super excited about that. But we'll get those in tomorrow. Like I said, Brian will get some photo video. We'll be sharing on social media, Instagram stories, Facebook, letting you know how that looks, how that's working. Keep you posted on the release date or when we'll be able to ship that rudder system.
Is there a way for folks to pre-order those?
There's not a pre-order. We kind of have gone the path of not doing pre-orders just because when we don't have a firm, can't say for sure when something's going to ship. So
Sure.
We don't want to make promises we can't deliver on, but we do have a kind of a sign-up page where you can say, hey, yeah, I want to be kept informed of this. And if you sign up on that Rudder page, then you will be notified via email when it's available before we, blast it out to the general public. I think I just heard another cork pop in the background. So that's good. Everyone's having a good time here. Yeah. So Brian, I don't know if you can find that link while you're multitasking there, but I don't know the actual link. But if you do NuCanoe preview rudder system or quick connect rudder, I know there's a preview in the URL, so that may help on the Google search. If you can't find it real quick, Brian, we can drop it in later today or some point. But there is that sign up form, so if you just put in your name, email, I think then we'll keep you informed on when that's available, and you'll be the first to know, first access to it.
I found it.
Good stuff, man. You are good at this gig.
Yeah, I'll drop that in the chat for you guys. Just copying and pasting it right now. But like you said, there's a sign up sheet right there on that page. And you guys can go in, sign up, like Blake said, and as soon as they got a shipping date, they will let those folks know first. This is a good question here. Can you make the rudder stationary so you can just use it as a skeg rather than steering?
That's a great question. It's something we've talked about, and I honestly don't remember where we ended up. I think it's definitely possible. For one, you could just on the steering handle, you could tighten it up a little bit where that kind of on the bolt that serves as the kind of the pivot point, tighten that up so it makes it stiffer, and that would certainly lock that rudder blade in place so it wouldn't rotate. But let me confer with James here. We'll get off the podcast, grab our team, and we'll figure that out. We'll definitely let you know within the next, when we put the information out on the rudder tomorrow in the next couple of days. We'll give you an update on that.
Okay.
But I know it's possible to do it just through kind of the fine tuning. I don't remember if we built in like an actual kind of lock pin sort of thing to it where it would just keep it stationary and not deal with that. I know that's something we plan to do because with that you could have the essentially the rudder blade with just the retract cord. You wouldn't need the steering handle, so it would kind of lower the it'd be less
price.
Stuff you would need to make it work as a skeg, and then you could have a retractable skeg.
Sure.
So I don't see any reason why we can't make that happen.
I like it. Very cool. Good stuff. Good
question too.
Yeah, I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine, Brad Hurlboss, team new member, and he was kind of looking for an option like that where it was just a set as a skeg versus an actual steering rudder, so to speak. So
yeah, and that's another thing that worked great with like the bow mount motors, just because I know they, kind of dampen the, how it would whip the road around or just kind of overpower it, or just drifting, paddling. So it's a great option for a lot of different things.
Heck yeah. Guys, gals, if you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat now. We'll kind of open this up to some questions and stuff like that for some of you guys that may have some stuff. Just going to run through real quick here. We got Blaine Upton. Blaine Upton in the chat. What's up, gentlemen?
Guys, we're not set up for audio for James here, but this is James, our
There he
designer.
is.
Let me confer with him for a minute.
Yes.
Is the rudder blade, do we have a locking setup in that where someone can just lock it so it doesn't rotate yet? Or is that something we're going to still figure out?
We can figure that out.
If James says we can figure it out, you sure as heck we'll figure it out.
Oh, that should be no problem to figure it out.
Yeah. Just, we talked about it once. I don't think we ever like cracked the code, but yeah, that's something that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, if anybody can
Cool.
figure it out, that's the man right there.
James is one of a kind, man. You don't have anybody else in this industry who designs kayaks, designs like accessories, designs every aspects of the stuff that goes on the boat. You know, the whole pedal drive system. I mean, Guy's a legend.
Heck yeah, I couldn't agree more. David Newton is in the chat. He says, is there a Boondocks adapter solution for the Pursuit?
Not at this time. And the reason for that is that where the Unlimited enables it, because it has two sets of tracks that are, basically across from each other. So we can tie into both sets of tracks, where the Pursuit and the Frontier 12, one set runs and then another set runs. So there's never kind of dueling sets of tracks. And we've just been hesitant to rely on, one set of tracks with all the weight of the boat to, and the inserts in there, not wanting to, have those inserts pull out or cause any damage to it. So not yet on the Pursuit, but that's something that, if you look at kind of the evolution of the models, whenever we kind of figure something out that works good, like the side handles on the Flint with the combo paddle holder, another thing designed by James, actually is patented by him. It'll be in ensuing models. So you can watch for, future models that come out to have that same functionality to easily drop that Boondocks landing gear in.
I like it. Jeremy Ambelo is in the chat. He says, what are y'all drinking? I believe it's champagne, correct?
Little champagne, Jeremy. Yeah, we gotta pop some corks around here.
Blaine Upton is asking, would that be any different with the top load aluminum tracks? And I believe he's referring to the Boondocks adapter.
Right. No, it wouldn't be, because it's the same inserts that are molded in that are really holding those tracks in place. So it's more the inserts and the tracks, in the boat side of it that was the issue, not the strength of the actual tracks themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen guys, throw Boondocks on many different makes and models of boats, and a lot of you kayak fishermen are like myself. You overload your boat with too much crap, and the boat can't withhold all that weight on those rail systems sometimes. So it's one thing you got to be cautious of, when you're talking about, like Blake said, now that you're spreading it across two tracks on each side, it makes it a whole world of difference.
Right. And if we bring something out, we want it to work for everybody, even the guys who are overloading their boats. So, it could work on the Pursuit for a bit. It could work for some people all the time, but we just wouldn't have confidence that it would work for all the people all the time.
Sure.
When we did the Unlimited one, we literally put like 200 pounds in the back of that boat and just let it sit for 6 hours. We passed that test, and we felt good that it could, it could work for someone getting a motor and a battery and too much gear to and from the water.
Foul Freddy's asking, is there going to be a revision to the pivot drive assembly connection from tower to worm drive? Don't know what.
I know what he's talking. He's basically where the aluminum housing comes up, makes a 90-degree bend, and then the drive cable inside goes into the drive cable coupler on the pedal tower, and there's a little pin that goes in to lock it into place. I mean, Freddie, that's something we've gone back and forth on a number of times on different ways, because we know that's kind of one of the, probably the stickiest, trickiest point on the pivot drive. And there's pros and cons to a lot of different things we've talked about, and we really haven't, come to a consensus that if we move forward with a different solution, that it will be definitively better and not just, improve it in one sense and create challenges in another sense. So it's something we're definitely looking at, something we want to improve on the pivot drive, but we don't have anything that we can say, yeah, this is in the works and it's going to be, incorporated soon. But
Right on.
since you asked, I can tell you about a different improvement that is finding its way into pivot drives as of now, and that's a new retract bracket on the back of the pivot drive on the top of the prop shaft. So if you've had a pivot drive, you probably have the track section come off, little deck ring on the back, rope that goes through it and pulls it up. We've had issues over the years with some of those ropes fraying, the leverage not being ideal. So we went back and kind of created a custom bracket for that, where instead of just having the track section, it's a bent metal part that the sides are bent up, and then there's two kind of spacer shafts between them that create the where the rope goes through. So it creates better leverage and eliminates that sort of friction that can cause that rope to fray. And got a couple people who tested it out, and just like night and day difference. It's just so much easier to retract. Doesn't put any, so much less leverage. It doesn't, stick, and it's just a huge improvement. So that is in pivot drives that we are assembling and shipping as of, this week. And stay tuned for a kind of upgrade kit that will be available for current pivot drive owners to upgrade that at a very low price. So it's really something that we'll make available for just basically kind of our component cost on that, and get it out to people who want to, all you're gonna have to do is basically take out 2 screws, put in 2 screws, run that rope through the new, instead of the deck ring, run it through the 2 little spacer shafts. You'd be good to go.
That'll be a nice upgrade to that for sure.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes, it will. That along with that kind of cable connection that Foul Freddy was referencing are kind of probably the 2 points on the pivot drive that, we've been trying to improve. So we got one of them knocked out. Now we'll really see what we can do. The other one. Yeah, really improve that connection and just make that more user friendly.
Very cool. Another pivot drive question from Kyle West. He says, anything in the works for a bracket to be able to use the micro power pole and the pivot drive on his F12?
Nothing in the works right now, but it's something that we can certainly take a look at. So
okay, all right.
It's James was here, he would say, well, it's got to be possible. So
yeah,
just a matter of figuring it out and kind of what it entails and all that. But there's definitely should be space for that. Probably would be, might be on the either off the left or right side to not interfere with the prop shaft, but something that should definitely be doable.
Very cool. Bunch of guys.
One thing I'll throw out there is it's cool that there's others out there now, other kind of growing kayak fishing accessory manufacturers that are kind of coming up with their own custom solutions, that fit on our boats. A lot of them are designed specifically for our boats. So keep an eye out there. One Objective, there's one of them out of Maryland. There's you think Yak Gadgets?
Yep.
Out of Tennessee that makes some cool stuff. So with the growing number of NuCanoe owners and boats out there on the water, there's others that are looking at these opportunities to try to fill some of the holes that we haven't filled, and say, hey, we can solve that problem. We can come up with a good solution for that too. So, if you're looking for some of these things, jump on the Google search and, look around, because there's definitely others that are out there solving some of the problems or just creating solutions that we haven't been able to create yet.
Heck yeah. Simon Crossfield is in the chat asking, where's the new location in Bellingham, and are you going to have more kayaks for sale up there in Bellingham?
Good question. The new location's on Iron Street. So we are you'll probably see in the coming days on our Instagram stories a poll on kind of coming up with a nickname for our building here on Iron Street, but it's 2121 Iron Street. If you want to drop into Google Maps and see exactly where we're at. Our old building, for reference, was 2125 Humboldt Street, Humboldt Iron. I mean, it's literally one block over. You go right through this wall about a half a block, and that's where we came from. So it's a real convenient move for us. Everyone's in the same neighborhood, but just a lot bigger, nicer space. And as for the kayaks, yes, really the kayak question is more a matter of supply and demand than it was of space, because we had a separate warehouse that we used to store boats in, But for the last 2 years, we haven't been able to store any boats because every boat we have
Was
is
sold.
wanted by a dealer customer.
Sure.
And so that space we converted into the photo studio on Franklin Street that we did a couple of these podcasts from, and you've seen a lot of video content come out from. But that space is pretty, we're really glad to be out of that space for things like, kayaks and videos, because it leaks, white debris, black debris falls from the ceilings. The boats don't look so good after a few weeks. So it's good to get the boats out of there, give them a nice little friendlier confines here. But we're going to keep that space. So, when demand slows down a little bit or our production increases a little bit and we're able to kind of have some boats in inventory, then we're just going to fill that space up, have boats there. So the dealers on the West Coast, BC, out there in Hawaii or beyond looking for kayaks, we can take care of them. Or if customers in this area want to come out and visit our shop and pick up a NuCanoe, we can take care of them here.
Very cool. Very cool. I saw one question back here from David Newton. He said, since we're on the topic of pivot drive, is there any maintenance required? He didn't see anything on the website.
Other than just kind of keeping it clean and whatnot, there's not a lot of maintenance. It can be helpful to lube that drive cable with just some food grade grease. We use Super Lube here in the shop. So if you kind of pull that drive cable out and just, put some lube in there, put it back in. Other than that, really no maintenance required. It's a pretty solid system, with the belts and the pulleys and the bearings and stuff. So nothing. That's about the only thing that would really be on the level of maintenance that'd be required or beneficial for the pivot drive.
Okay, right on. Josh Burris, he says, any aluminum recessed rod holders in the Unlimited coming in the future? I'm looking to use downriggers on Lake Michigan salmon fishing.
Oh, that's cool, man. No, we haven't looked at that. Don't have anything. It's not something that's been really on our radar to use aluminum flush rod holders. But hey, something we can look at. We're definitely looking at some of the mounting systems and gear management systems and how we can improve those, make them more robust, make them stronger, allow you to do more with them. But that's not something we've really looked at. But definitely would love to know your ideas. If you want to shoot us an email, support@NuCanoe.com, or just shoot it to me, Blake@NuCanoe.com. Let us know what you're thinking. We can take a look and see how that could fit in the future.
Right on. David's also asking, is there any maintenance for the steering control?
No, there's no maintenance for the steering control. It's not a whole lot to do there. So it should be good to go. If you have any problems with your steering systems, just let us know. We'll help you get it fixed up or replaced if something breaks. But there's no maintenance required.
Very cool. Glenn Lamont's in the chat. He's asking about a mobile kayak rack. Would that be safe for long-term storage on the Unlimited? I think you'd have to probably see what this storage rack is before we could answer that truthfully.
Yeah, I mean, long-term storage, if you store them upside down on the gunnels, that's always great because there's no pressure on the hull. And
Sure.
there's just the nature of those gunnels are like beams essentially in the structure of the kayak.
They're stealing
Someone's
the bottle.
sneaking in to grab the last drop of champagne here in the building. I guess we didn't get enough. So, oh boy, we'll up the ante next time. So where were we at? Yeah, so upside down the gunnels. If you're going to be storing it for 4-6 months, and that'd be the best. On its side is another way. If you're storing it just kind of right side up, lay it flat on the floor, or just have enough, support for it on the bottom. You don't have any pressure points. You don't have a lot of bow or stern weight, hanging over that's going to, cause it to sag. So those are some of the things to think about. Definitely don't store it with any extra stuff on it. Don't hang it by the handles, things like that. So.
Sure.
But yeah, as far as his specific question, we'd have to see exactly what his card is. But if you take those ideas, you can probably figure out if it's going to work well or not.
I like it. Well, I think we're through all the questions. And my man Blaine Upton dropped in here. Typically on these podcasts, Blake, I asked our guests if they had a Frontier 12 rigged up tandem, you could go fishing with anybody dead or alive for a day. Who are you going with?
Man, I would go with I'd go with my grandpa Elliot. My middle name's Elliot. My grandpa Elliot was kind of a homesteader in Montana, and I don't know if he has any fishing stories specifically, but man, learning the stories from my dad, I think he would be a really fun guy to go fishing with. And he would have loads of stories, loads of advice, and he would have some amazing tactics for catching fish because he could figure anything out. So that's who I'd go with.
That's cool. That's very cool. Very cool.
It's actually my great grandpa, but we always just, whatever reason, he was always kind of Grandpa Elliot. He fortunately passed away when I think I was 6 years old, so I got to meet him a couple times. But it's kind of a legend, in my mind.
Very cool. I like it. Very cool, man. Well, any other final thoughts, things you want to throw out there to the good folks tuning in at home or on the podcast platforms?
We wanted to get all our team on here to say hi and just introduce themselves. Some of them were a little bit shy, didn't want to do it. Others were eager to do it, but unfortunately, we're not quite set up with our podcast technology here for the audio video side. So we'll save that for a future episode. But definitely would love for you all to meet our team a little bit more. But yeah, that's it, man. We're it's May already. Hard to believe. Fast and furious in this season, keeping up with everything, bringing out new products, and starting to gear up for ICAST. So it's all good times and exciting stuff, and we're just looking forward to keep on improving, keep moving forward, and continue to kind of grow together.
So we'll end on this. Since you brought up ICAST, will there be any big reveals? You could say yes or no. You don't have to tell us what it may be. Anything new and interesting we may see in July?
Man, we're always working on stuff that's new and interesting.
Okay.
The time frame of when things drop, that's a little bit unknown at this point. As you know, sometimes we just kind of bring stuff out when it's ready.
I got it.
If some of the new stuff that's brewing is ready at ICAST, we'll be excited to show it off there. If it's not, we'll just kind of sit tight and let it out when the time's right. So, but I can guarantee you, we're always working on how to, make new things and just as much so improve things, because we have a really good, stable of kayaks. We got good systems, and as fun as it is to bring out something that's entirely new, a lot of times it's better to say, how can we make this better? How can we make it work better? How can we improve it?
I like it. My good friend Richard DeVries is in the chat. He says NuCanoe can produce the first jousting kayak. That's been a running joke down there at Eastport Marina. We're going to have jousting matches out of NuCanoes down there.
That's funny, man. I remember back at Outdoor Retailer Trade Show, probably like 2008 or 2009, the demo day.
Yeah.
We'd be out there in the Classic 12s, like me and someone else, and we were just tossing Frisbees back and forth.
I love it.
Out on the water, standing on the boat. We didn't do any jousting, but yeah, I could see that.
I love it. We were talking about rigging up EPSs and just, last man standing, going at it. I love it, man.
All right,
Blake,
good stuff, Brian.
Yeah, man, congrats on the new facility. Huge shout out and thank you to all the staff and personnel up there in Bellingham. They do such an awesome job. Kudos to them. I know I saw a lot of comments in the chat about guys and gals commenting on how awesome they are to deal with up there. So cool. Huge shout out to them. Huge shout out to you. Thank you so much. Everybody tuning in tonight, thank you for all your questions. Love all the interaction you guys had tonight, and hope you guys are as excited as we all are on all the new stuff being released. Foot steering's out. Those links are in the chat. If you guys are listening onto the podcast platforms later, I'll put that in the show description. Make sure you're hashtagging NuCanoe in all your photos, and you can end up in the intro of the show. Blake, thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate you as always, and hope you guys have an excellent night up there celebrating, and we will see you guys all next Tuesday, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 5 o'clock out on the West Coast. Till next time, boys and girls, Tight lines. Smooth paddle.